and welcome to another episode of the Mindless Show. Today we are talking spoilers, spoiler talk, and all the above. We're not exactly going to spoil films and TV shows unless they've been out for at least a decade. We're just going to talk about how spoilers are made, what the design are, and all that random bullshit. Today I'm joined by that guy and Magic Mike.
Hello, hello, hello. How are you today?
I'm good.
Good. You? Other guy?
That guy.
That guy?
So creeped out right now.
He has the enthusiasm that I wish I had.
Oh.
I don't have enthusiasm, I'm pretty depressed.
No.
That's sarcasm, in case you didn't catch that. Alright, so I actually have a collection of props here. For example,
That's weird.
I do not endorse Funko
Wait, you've
Pop,
got American
these
Hustle?
pieces of shit. I actually hate them. But because it's Game of Thrones, I got it with the collector's edition. Yeah. So, for example, Game of Thrones, shows like that, shows like American Horror Story, which the whole box set for, Blu-ray box set.
Scary.
And even to its level, you got Mr. Robot, you got 10 Cloverfield Lane and Cloverfield, you got the Cornetto trilogy, Shaun of the Dead, Hot Fuzz, The World's End, Interstellar, Moon, the last Harry Potter book, Rick and Morty Season 2, Terminator Genesis, and Dead Calm.
Why do you have a book?
Because it's the idea that, well, for one thing, it's a different form of a thing, for literature in this case, for media, but it's also the idea of how everything in the series builds, like how the last book in the series can still have twists.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, it's a novel.
Yeah. So that one we will talk about the spoilers in it because it's been out for a while, same as the film. So let's talk about the general idea of spoilers. Now, personally, I've got 3 categories for this year because I already thought this the other day. I was like, what films have I seen this year that don't have spoilers in them? And I realized that at least 70% of the films I watched this year have not exactly a spoiler, but have a twist of some kind. Like I had 20% of them, out of 100%, 10% of the films I watched this year had no twists. 20% had twists but no twist ending, and the other 70% had a twist ending, or at least had a big twist in the middle of the film. I got this based off watching Arrival, which I will not spoil because it's very, very new as of now. So when you guys think of spoilers, especially twists, what do you expect from them?
Well, I guess in certain twists you see that there's a turning point or something you haven't seen. Like during a movie, you see something that I haven't seen. There's a bad guy involved. Your friend was actually the enemy.
Yeah.
A magic energy is against it, or you were the bad guy the whole time.
Yeah.
Basically, a twist that shows that there's something you don't expect at all to happen.
There's one twist in particular I find interesting in Doctor Strange. Now there's a whole bunch of things in that film, but there's one twist which isn't. I'm not going to go into big detail of it, but it's just the idea of how they reveal it. It's a big kind of character twist for one of the protagonists, but it's interesting how they deal with it because the protagonist, Doctor Strange, reveals it to another character saying that this is what's happening with this character, and it's really just there to provide conflict because it doesn't really present that much of a twist to the audience. Like, it doesn't form of any kind of dramatic or situational irony, but it's more of the idea of, because those being, the audience knows what's going on,
True, but
or it's used to create conflict.
True, but the idea of Doctor Strange is, like, you see Doctor Strange all magic, really.
Yeah.
But Doctor Strange, he doesn't use magic, he just manipulates reality to a different persuasion. To him, he just revealing true reality to certain people.
Yeah.
That's what they're doing. And to other people, in certain protagonists and antagonists in the movie, they're seeing reality completely differently to Doctor Strange, who sees through all of it,
Yeah.
but way better than even the original Sorcerer Supreme did.
Yeah, and that's what I find really interesting because of how they use this twist, and it's just the idea of that. When I was watching the film and they revealed it, and they revealed it so casually, like the protagonist was so nonchalant, saying like, "This is what this person's doing," and you're just like, "Oh, okay," because it's kind of like because someone else is doing a similar thing, but then you got to understand why this character's doing it. That's literally all it gives you.
Well, you see
why is this character doing it? That's all you need. That's the only question. That's
well, you see it two different places. Like you see the antagonist constantly doing it for evil purposes, while the protagonist is doing it for a good, better reason
yeah,
than
a completely
the...
different purpose, yeah. But then, so that's like a twist, mid-film twist. Are there,
More or less Marvel.
I guess, yeah, with Marvel, especially with their end-of-film twists, like, say, Captain America Civil War, you know.
That was good.
Haven't
They've-
seen.
we're not going to
Talk
spoil
about something I have
We're
seen.
not going to spoil 2016 films. But,
For some reason, you haven't
it's
seen.
more or less that idea of
I know.
a lot of these films, like Captain America, they're built on that idea of they're building up to this big twist. You know, they have a very vague opening or very vague plot line that ends in some way. But what's another film that does that? What's another film that does that? Where it starts with some kind of vague thing that ends with a big twist.
That's really hard to find
I guess
because
maybe
the
you
amount
could
of
say-
movies you see nowadays is constantly doing it. Like, oh, here's one movie. There's this one movie, it's very underrated, it's a good movie, but hasn't got many recognizations.
Yeah.
It's called The Boy. Basically it's about these two parents who lost their child and now believe that a doll, like a living doll, like see those big dolls?
Yeah,
I look at it.
Annabelle and whatnot, yeah.
Yeah, well, same deal with that. And they think it's a kid, so they got a nanny because they were going away for a bit to look after the doll.
Oh.
You expect some supernatural nature of it, right? So it's kind of but really the whole twist is there was no supernatural nature of it at all.
See, it's interesting how they go. They usually, a lot of films rely on a twist to create tension. Like, for example, any Shyamalan film ever made. I mean, what's one of these films? The Sixth Sense
Ooh.
builds on this idea that, like, oh, the kid sees dead people. But what's the real big twist? Because that in itself is a twist. It's really something, like, really to pop out of the film.
Seeing the dead is weird.
Yeah, and
It's like
then-
watching Paranorman.
Yeah, and
You
when
see
you,
the dead all the time.
when you get to the end of the film, of course, the big twist is revealed about Bruce Willis's character, and
Haven't seen it.
I haven't actually either because I don't care about it. But
I
it's
don't
just
actually
it's
have the
interesting. I
option
mean,
to watch
there's a film like a lot of the Shyamalan twists. He's made these films that build up to this big twist at the end. You've got what's another one? The Happening even has a twist.
Happening.
The pretty much every single, I'd probably say every single film he has a twist. Not to say that they're bad. A lot of people see it as it's a good thing that these films have twists. You know, like it's also like that what the build up is. You know, what the characters are like. Everything else in the film that builds up to this one big twist and how it's portrayed. Like even with Arrival, when you see the twist, the funny thing is that you already know a lot of the details before that twist, and then when you finally see the twist, you're like, holy shit, this is how it all connects. So a lot of the twists in films are like, these are how we're going to connect this big part of the film to everything else that you just watched.
But really, for a twist, it really is more of a revelation of what you're watching. Similar to magicians, the key thing they say, if you see it, now you see me,
Yeah.
the closer you look, the less you see. Basically indicates that what you're seeing is in reality at all.
Yeah.
It's
Like-
basically similar to
like-
multiple movies at once. Like in Saw, they do it all the time, saying that who's a real killer and who's the bad guy and all this.
It's like, for example, Prestige as well. It has that idea of the big twist is how are these magic tricks being performed. And so it's, have you seen Prestige at all?
No.
It's a Nolan film with
I've
Zac
seen
Ohman.
Now You See Me and Now You See Me Too.
You need to watch more movies.
Yeah.
But it's just interesting how a lot of people build these twists, and a lot of them, like especially in the magic film, you get the idea of why this twist exists because it's trying to reveal how this magic exists. So it's not the idea of the twist; it's the idea of it's revealing a bigger question. Like say in the 10 Cloverfield Lane, they have this. They build up this whole entire tension in the film because you got your protagonist, which is played by Mary Elizabeth Winstead. I've only seen it for once. I can't remember who any of the characters are called. Then you got John Goodman, and he believes, like they're all in this bunker. He believes that aliens have taken over, and there's this big apocalypse happening outside, and that he doesn't want to go out there because he thinks there's going to be radiation. There's going to be aliens trying to kill them, and Mary Elizabeth Winstead and John Gallagher's character, they don't believe him whatsoever.
Then to
And
them,
so
they're just locked in a
Yeah, they're
apartment.
just locked up in this bunker, and so there's this constant conflict between these characters until you get the final revelation at the end of are there aliens or is this guy batshit insane? And so a lot of those films build up on that idea, but it's also, I guess, what happens after the twist, like
Or what happens before you
what
see
happens
it.
before and what happens after.
Yeah.
So usually is a twist good enough that that makes you want to watch the film continuously, or does it ruin the film? Like a lot of Shyamalan films, The Happening, for example, the twist ruins the film.
What's happening?
The Happening is the one with Mark Wahlberg and Zoe Deschanel. It's the one where nature is trying to kill off humanity because as a form of revenge.
I kinda like
That's
that.
the twist.
I kind of like that.
Basically, poison ivy.
It's-
So.
Yeah, in a way. Like I liked the film when I first watched it because I liked the apocalyptic nature of it all.
Same.
But
That's
of course,
what I like
watching it
about
again and again, I realized how really horrible it is as a film. It has its flaws, like Signs, for example. You know, Signs and War of the Worlds. They both have this whole entire big thing, but the twist isn't actually the fact that there are aliens and where they came from. It's actually how you kill them. And for both of them, it's literally a resource on Earth. So for War of the Worlds, it's germs. For Signs,
Wait,
it's
really
water.
germs?
The common
Yeah,
cold.
it's germs because it's the common cold because they don't have anything
Because
to.
humans have adapted to it over
Yeah.
there.
So wait, that's what they're.
Yeah, because it's the idea. I think is because it's a man-made kind of disaster of the common
Right.
cold that aliens haven't actually been able to adapt to it because they've
Right.
never lived on this planet before.
Right. Okay.
Well, even though they technically live on the ground unless you watch the one where they come down from space. But even in Signs, it's water that kills the aliens, which seems very ironic because the Earth
Yeah,
is like 70%
70%
water.
water.
So it's like, what the fuck's the point? Even humans are made of like 70% water.
Or the
What the hell's
or
the
Attack
point?
on Mars, where their weakness was cowboy music. Their heads explode.
Mars Attacks.
Mars Attack, yeah.
Jesus Christ.
That's a sound aliens didn't even know. Like they see movies and see music, but they didn't even know there was a sound that caused their heads to explode.
I guess there's one thing, like say Fight Club, for example. Can a film narrative or TV show narrative, for example, I'm going to go with Fight Club and Mr. Robot here. Can the stories be really good, even though they have this twist?
Depends on how big the story itself is. Like
And how they relate the twist?
yeah, and how it relates to the twists. The story is good, you got everyone fighting, good, you got the action, you got the drama, you have to balance it out. The twist just adds to that twist, like gives a new perspective to that balance.
Yeah, it answers really a lot of the things with the film, I guess.
Yeah, but also, for a movie that has a twist, like it has to be a good movie and a twist, then from there it has to be either better or good or terrible. Because really, the movie can be good, but a twist can give a terrible end, it can give a terrible twist,
Yeah.
but the movie can still be good. Really, it depends how they interpret the twist and how they make the twist good with the movie.
Yeah. With Fight Club, the film itself is really good, and even after the twist, it's still really good. It's still a great commentary. It still serves a purpose. The twist just makes it more entertaining.
Yep.
Like, it's just like what the fuck. Like a lot of these things, especially twists, are just there to give you a massive mindfuck. With Mr. Robot, the whole entire series, both season 1 and season 2, completely have a lot of twists.
Yeah.
And because the show is kind of, it's inspired a lot by these films like Fight Club and all these other films, and the twists that they use themselves. But at the same time, all the narratives that's still happening, because they've got surrounding characters from the protagonist, from Elliot, and you still see, even through these twists, the rest of the story still goes really well. And it just makes you want to watch it more. But are twists used these days just so people can watch the films again, or just so that people can still watch the film?
More like
Yeah,
just-
watch
A good example is A Beautiful Mind.
I don't
Have you heard of that one? No, Russell Crowe movie. Basically, it's based on a guy that had,
Pretty thoughts.
I can't remember what it is, but I can't remember it. But basically, you find out somewhere through the movie that that his best friend that was in his apartment was just someone that he was seeing.
So it's an imaginary friend.
Yeah,
Yeah.
basically, and there are other people like that. And I might say it in the description. I watched it in Science this year.
It's even like Westworld itself
He's
has
got
all these series. Like I can't think of, like, that's why I said at the start of this episode that I was thinking of all the films I've watched this year and how many of them had twists or twist endings. The only films that didn't have a twist or a twist ending was Shin Godzilla and Deadpool.
Oh, that was...
There are like no other films I've watched this year that haven't had a twist ending or
Well,
a twist
mostly
ending.
because movies like Deadpool or Shin Godzilla, the movies are so good, you expect what happens, You want to see how good that they make it, and the twist isn't really necessary.
Yeah. But
Sometimes
it's just interesting how they incorporate it. Like Captain America: Civil War has a twist. It has a twist kind of ending. It has constant twists throughout the whole entire film. Even Suicide Squad had, and this is one of the films I put in the 20% category because it doesn't have a twist ending, but the twist in it has its ironic purposes because the audience already knows what the fuck's going on. It's just when the characters find out that this guy is actually dating the villain and like who the villain actually is, it's like, good, they find out. Can we get this fucking story on? Can we finally finish this film now? You know, it's that aspect of you given a twist that you know the audience knows, but the characters don't.
Yeah, it gives a whole, because to the audience, we want to see their reaction to the whole, the twist itself.
Yeah, and we want to see what kind of resolution they can bring from this twist.
Yeah.
I mean, there's even a film that I was watching the other day, and the whole entire film is meant to be this whole murder mystery thing where a psychopath is being released from prison. Well, not being released from prison, he's been transferred to another prison, and all these people on a really stormy night end up in this motel, and one by one they get killed off, and the twist is that one of them is actually the psychopath and that he's actually been released in this place. But it turns out it's not just that, it's that the psychopath is actually a child, and that all of this is actually happening in his head.
Yeah, really.
So it's like when you got those twists, you just go down the fucking rabbit hole until it's just so absurd, you give up.
You see, the twist itself, you mostly see it in horror movies or thrillers.
Yeah.
Because they're basically normally with twists.
You need to create that
He
suspense.
suffered from schizophrenia. So basically he saw things that weren't actually there.
Yeah.
And
Right.
you find out like halfway through the movie that
Yeah.
half the things he's been seeing aren't real.
Because it gives you that level
And
up. It's not just the fact that he's been seeing all this stuff, but because of where the twist is in the film, you're able to continue the film
It's actually a true
and
story.
resolve the narrative and be like, how are we going to resolve it after he's found out that he's a schizophrenic?
The thing is, the way they do it is because it's a true story. They actually make it so that it's
All seen from his
interesting. So halfway
perspective.
through, you find out that about when he finds out that he's got schizophrenia,
Yeah.
and that's how they hear the movie rolling.
Yeah.
Because
So-
otherwise, it would just be a documentary.
Yeah, most
on
stories
this
are
guy
actually
with
in people's
schizophrenia,
heads.
and he's one of
Yeah.
the prizes of that.
A lot of these ones, like Fight Club, Mr. Robot, that film you talked about, The Beautiful Mind, whatever, all of these films and TV shows have that aspect of a lot of these things are just in people's brains.
Just like
They just
people
people are just crazy because
also-
that's the new norm in films. I mean, some of it is like, say, Captain America: Civil War. Some of it have that revelation of this character did something in the past that's affected this other character's present, and that in itself is, as much as it's a twist that you can see coming, like apart from a fucking mile away, which I usually dislike when films do that, but it's just got that added twist value to it. Even
Yeah,
on,
well,
even on
Marvel,
rival
they don't-
that aspect.
Well, Marvel don't give out the twist. They just give parts of said twist out.
Yeah.
Like in the Civil War, you saw that happening. You say, "Hey, what's going on?" Then they explain it to you during the near ending of it.
Yeah,
So really, they actually, because Marvel's known to explain half their crap
yeah,
and half the causes of it.
yeah. See, with Arrival, it has a twist near the end, which you see coming, but then it's got another twist after that, which this one, like the one that you see coming, is very minor. Very, very minor. But the one that comes afterwards is the one that's a big mind fuck. And it's just that idea of, like, do films... I'm just going to keep going back to this question. Do films and TV shows need to have a big mind fuck? Do they have to have this moment?
Well, Game of Thrones and Walking Dead both have one.
Yeah, they all.
Game of Thrones starts with, this will be spoilers, but it's so old if you don't know.
Just,
Yeah.
just go.
Yeah.
Just go.
The beheading of Ned.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everyone's thinking, oh, how's he going to get out of this? And then his head falls off and you're going, oh, shit.
Yeah.
And then Walking Dead, I think it's like season... it might be just season 1 or something.
Just say.
Where they find out that they've all got the virus.
Yeah.
And it
Season-
doesn't matter
like
how
that-
you die, you've got it.
Yeah, it's season 2 actually.
Yeah, it's
No, that's
because they find out in
that's
season 1.
It's at the end of
But
season
then
1.
they
like,
tell
season
everyone in season 2 or something.
Yeah,
Something
Rick tells
like
everyone.
that, yeah.
Actually, I think he tells them at all. Like, see, but I think it's the end of season 2. Yeah, but
Yeah.
that's even the thing
Yeah,
in the
it's
comic
much-
books where
yeah.
they have that idea of. But again, that's not really. It's kind of a twist. In itself.
Even the
It is
Flash.
because you go, holy crap.
Yeah,
It's one of those holy crap
it's
moments.
one of those holy shit moments. But yeah, but even like a lot of the characters when they get killed off, that's in its own way,
They
in
come
its
back.
own right, a holy shit moment.
Hmm.
Yeah, we've said comic books, for example. There are so many. They have a lot of twists in them. Usually they use them like even more was the most recent one that I recall. That Steve Rogers is actually an agent of Hydra, and that was a whole big thing. Like a lot of people hated that, but also people like they respected the fact that they actually went to this level to make it happen. But it turns out he was actually brainwashed.
Yeah, the comics they try to mix it up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've no
They do
idea
it
what you mean.
randomly.
That's just like a new Steve Rogers comics that came out in 2016.
It's an alternate
Ah, it's a
universe, really.
comic,
So
okay.
Yeah, that's what I love about the comics. They have a what if version of these comics. And it's like, what if in
Civil
Planet
War.
what if Planet Hulk actually defeats like all the people on Planet Hulk and then goes to Earth and kills every single member of every single Marvel character? It's like
and then
that's the thing.
And he ends up becoming the Herald of Galactus. Actually,
Yeah.
I've seen that
And
comic.
it
That
does.
was
Hello. Hello.
Were you gonna say something?
Recording.
I was only going to say that
Julian and stuff.
the main reason people were annoyed with the whole Captain America as an agent of Hydra is because he was like the people who went in who had a hand in creating Captain
No,
America. They were
he's
both
like-
Jewish, and Hydra is meant to be literally Hitler,
Yes.
no, mostly a representation.
Yeah,
of
actually.
Hitler. Actually, a lot of representation of
the
Hitler.
Nazis, and so you know,
It's the idea of
Kaiser
he's always been against
characters-
Hydra. Why would he be
Yeah.
for Hydra now? After
and
all
like
this
it
time?
literally betrays like the creators, and it's almost an insult to like people who were victims of the Holocaust as well.
Yeah.
Just want to say.
But of course, then
Or-
they just change it and say that he's actually brainwashed, which I'm fine that I like that they use that twist because a lot of comic books need to use these twists to get audiences to keep reading. Because
Marvel
it's,
does a lot of what if scenarios.
Yeah, it's so hard to get a lot of people to keep reading this stuff.
It's really just bad fan fiction, really.
What? So we didn't kill it?
In a way, yeah.
Though my favorite what
So
if
it's
is
still
what if
alive.
Civil War never ended. That's a
By
good
its
one
feet.
because
So it's
they're
still
constantly
alive
fighting
by
and
its
fighting and
feet.
fighting until the whole U.S. is separated into two separate categories: Captain Team Iron or Team Blue or something.
Yeah.
And they found out the little spoiler here, the twist,
Couldn't have just
the
done
Skrulls
shit.
have been messing with everything just to keep Civil War going.
God, Sam's
So yeah, it's it was actually pretty good actually.
There's even for example American Horror Story, every season now not every season has a twist.
Sure.
Actually, do they? Season 1 it has its twists. Season 2 has a twist. Season 3 has a. Season 3's twist is more of is built on a question of who. Actually, I guess really. Oh fuck. I think I just realized that every single season, at least the first 3 seasons, build up on this idea of who are these particular characters. Like who's this murderer? Who's the father of this child? Who's
really.
Who's the supreme witch or whatever this shit?
It's not a twist. It's more like an answer to what your question and mystery stories. And
But it's
thrillers.
also the idea of how the character becomes a twist, because they don't just give you this character, they also manipulate and say like this character is of some importance to a level of
Wait,
this thing isn't
what do I use
actually
for it?
possible, and because of that,
What do I use?
it's going to have a disastrous result.
Yeah, it's exactly like Saw.
Yeah.
They always explain what the hell's going on and who's going on.
Okay.
Like in number 2, when they were watching security cameras through it, it was actually just a video recording
Yeah, it was
the
a
whole time.
recording the whole time. Yeah.
And the son was just in a safe
Yeah.
right next to him.
Yep.
When do you
So
get
technically he was right. Then he lost the game.
Yeah, it's interesting how far a lot of these films go, because a lot of the twists are so disappointing, and it's just really weird. I mean, even my dad watched there's 2 versions of Lolita. Actually, there's a couple of versions.
I know there's someone in the background
There's a Kubrick version, which I think is the original, and then there's one after that with Jeremy Irons. And
Yeah.
the Kubrick version actually, it's kind of got a twist ending in a way to explain why. I think it's what happens with this character or why this character is doing this certain thing. And the Kubrick version, that's the first scene you see. The first scene is why this character is doing this. And then you go through this
Yes.
whole entire film, and you already know what's going on.
There was a mouse caught by its front feet in a mousetrap, and instead of getting a shoe and hitting it, he just threw it out in the garbage bin for it
Alive.
to bleed to death, and half an hour later a garbage truck came and got the bits.
That's just cruel.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah.
Just
I mean, to put it out of its misery, God.
I have a cat that plays with her food. At least they die before they bleed out. So they don't even bleed.
Well, its arms probably just, yeah.
That's okay. That's
Pretty
that's a
gruesome.
twist.
Yeah, there's a twist right there.
Did it?
All right, let's talk about twists that are bad, but not in for two reasons. One, because advertising for the film makes it bad, and because it gives you the twist. And secondly, because the twist ending was brought in because the company wanted it. So, for example, twist ending that was bad, Dead Calm. Any of you guys seen Dead Calm? All right, so Dead Calm
Describe it.
at the bottom of this list here. So pretty much it's about three characters. Two of them are husband and wife, and they're out in the ocean.
That sounds nice.
And so it's John and Ray, played by Sam Neill and Nicole Kidman, and they're out in the ocean and they find a boat, and the character Billy Zane, played by Billy Zane, who is doesn't tell you his name. Awesome. I did this for Medium. I can't remember his freaking name. Still, the whole entire film is the progression of John's character, played by Sam Neill, is on Billy Zane's character's boat. Huey, that's his name. Is on Hugh's boat, and he has to repair the boat to sail and find and save Ray, because Ray has been kidnapped on their own powered motorboat by, which also has sails on it, by Huey. And pretty much the ending revelation is that they kick Huey off the boat, and they can live happily ever after. It's very good as a juxtaposition to the start of the film. It's very nicely done. And then the studio was like, you know what? I don't think it's obvious enough that he's dead. Let's film 2 extra scenes and kill him off that way. And so they bring him back by he climbs onto the boat, and they end up killing him with having a flare go through a sail and into his head, and his head explodes.
That's kind of
It's really bad. It's like the last 10 minutes is fucking comedy level bad. And it's just ridiculous. Why did they do that? But it's because of the company.
a firework.
It's a flare.
Flare. It's like a...
Yeah, but it's pretty much Sam Neill's character lights a flare and fires it directly into his head.
Sounds like one of those Final Destiny moments.
Final Destination moments, yeah.
It's
It's just the kind of bullshit thing of, what the fuck?
Avoid death.
You've just had a really good film, and now you've got the shitty ending. What the hell?
That's normal for most films nowadays.
It's
not
just,
nowadays. That they used to.
It's just weird that they have to, that the companies make them do that. It's just like, why? And okay, so there's that thing, for example, and then there's another film, like, very famously, Terminator Genesis.
Oh, that.
Yeah, that one.
Messed up.
Personally, out of all the Terminator films, it's actually my third favorite, behind the first 2 films, because the third film, Rise of the Machines and Salvation, were good but not fantastic.
Decent film.
I think in itself, Genesis is actually a good film. The only problem, it has problems.
Wasn't it that Connor?
The twist is actually that John Connor is actually a Terminator.
No, he became one.
He became a Terminator after the match.
I thought the twist was
changed him.
I thought the twist was someone screwed, because they basically said it was going to be another machine, and said it was John Connor.
There is that twist that John
trailers.
Connor that is in the trailer. It's that John Connor is actually the new version of the new Terminator.
I thought the twist was
a new version of the Terminator.
that someone screwed up the timeline to a point where the whole Sarah Connor thing turned out backwards, because someone sent another
Holy shit.
Terminator to the further into the past.
Yeah, when she was a kid. Yeah, they did that, and then
Isn't that a big
that's
twist?
why Arnold Schwarzenegger's character is so old, because
tells you
he's
where
actually
they
been.
are.
I don't care.
That's
But it's just that idea of
Oh,
how
shit.
advertising
Go.
can ruin the twist.
yeah, it's a new upgrade.
Yeah, because the trailers for the film
Why didn't you
ruin that twist,
That's cool.
which sucks. I know because Schmidlab and I watched the film a while back, and
Oh, that is nice.
he had no idea that was the twist. He was surprised. I knew it was a twist.
Yeah.
I was bored by it. I was like, I know this is a twist, and I fucking hate that.
Why have you got sunglasses on?
Too
We're
cool.
inside, man.
Too cool.
But in Final Revelations, I guess
I'm taking a dim view of you all.
there are 2 things. Twists that for one thing, twists that make the film confusing, like Interstellar, for example.
Oh,
They
yeah.
kind of twist ending for that, which is very twist ending. But the you know, going into the fifth dimension stuff and the black hole and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that's
It's kind of how logic gets completely thrown out the window. I still think it's a great film, and there's aspects like there's one thing that could have been changed that makes the film completely actually revolve perfectly, but I can't remember what it was. But it's that film even in itself. I still think it's a great film. As much as they go into the black hole and you know it's actually they go into like another dimension and shit. It's fucked up, but it still works in a way. Who gives a fuck? It's sci-fi. They're literally in space for fuck's sake. But I guess lastly, because I did want to talk about the Cornetto trilogy with Shaun of the Dead, Hot Fuzz, and World's End, and how how World's End and Hot Fuzz both have twist endings,
no the end.
which
of,
are
this is the end.
well deserved. I mean, the World's End, like you get the twist in the middle of the film, but then you got and that's like that they're actually alien robots, and that the end of the film it actually explains why, and that's the kind of final twist revelation that I like.
Yeah, that
I still like that film. I
that
very much like that
humanity
film.
are just a bunch of fuck ups.
Yeah, they're just a bunch of fuck ups. But even Hot Fuzz, I think Hot Fuzz is the twist for that is fantastic.
Really good.
It's like you need to catch this killer. Who is this killer? And how can they do all these different things? And
when
how are they
the
not
whole
started?
idea of it isn't
Yeah, it's
as complicated as it
yeah.
should sound actually.
Yeah, because the thing is that the main character he's looking for one guy. It's all of them.
Apparently, I've
And it's
seen
so
the trailer.
cool as to why they're all killers.
I haven't seen it.
Well, because technically, yeah, they're
Yeah, it's
killing
because
them,
it's because they're protecting.
never. I just thought it was like
It's because
Saw
they're protecting the
thing.
town, and you know they have purpose. You know, so you're given this twist, which is a fantastic twist,
Apparently,
and then the characters why the twist exists is actually a legitimate reason. Bit harsh to a level of let's kill people to protect the town, you know, to make it perfect, but you know,
That's reasoning.
yeah. But it's just interesting how they did that, you know.
I just tuned over, but apparently I've seen a bunch of Pokemon that I haven't seen.
He's playing Pokemon Go.
Lucky
What a
you.
fucking nerd.
Apparently I've seen a Dragonite, a Charizard, Gyarados, Lapras, and all that shit that I haven't even seen.
But yeah, so
Nobody
there are
played this
different.
game that off.
There are different twists. There are films with no twist because they don't need it. There are films with a twist ending. But hopefully enough time to explain this twist ending. There are films with twists all the way through it, and the final twist reveals, gives you a big revelation of the whole entire thing. You know, there's all these different ways that plot twists are incorporated. But I guess in total, do films need them? Do TV shows need them?
Yes.
And the only reason, not the only reason, one of the reasons why they use them is to keep the audience interested.
Yeah.
Actually, yes, if they can do it good.
If they can do the twist
If
really
it's
good,
just gonna stuff
then
up the movie, then just
if it's a
forget about it.
deserved twist, it's a deserved twist, unlike Dead Calm. But like Hot Fuzz, deserved twist. Dead Calm, no. But yeah, it's just interesting how they do that. I mean, even the film Moon, great film, and I'm not going to say underrated because it's even rated pretty well. It's just not enough people know about it. But it's a film by Duncan Jones, and it's a fantastic film, and it confuses you at one point with its first twist for who these characters are. But then when you finally get to the last twist, like it's one of those films where he keeps building up on a twist, and they're just like it gets more and more confusing until the ending. Like holy fuck, it's just like wow. But I don't know. It's twists are fun and annoying at the same time. You know.
That's how the world works.
You don't always need a twist, but it never hurts. I guess. I mean, you know, some things can do without it. Even the fucking final Harry Potter book has a goddamn twist. Dobby's dead. Pull that in the fact that they kill Harry Potter, and it's like no, they don't actually kill him. They just destroy the Horcrux.
Yeah, that's not a
It's
very
so
twisting.
confusing.
It's not bad.
It's okay.
Yeah, just blame Dumbledore.
It works for the
Yeah, they
aspect
make
of
it
like,
work, but-
it works in its own way.
No, I mean, it's just like, oh, you have to commit suicide to actually defeat him.
Not really. There
This
are
happens
actually.
that you have to destroy the scar.
Yeah, there are literally a shit ton of other ways to do
Yeah.
that.
There's a lot of things with
Sure.
even with series. Like
That's
I think the last thing Yeah.
Won't he just come back in a Horcrux or something?
I guess the last thing we'll touch on is...
You kill one guy, he just pops up another somewhere else.
The last thing we'll talk about is how a series a series of films, books, comics, how they incorporate different twists. And why.
It's mostly the same idea. Instead of it being one movie or two or three, it's a long series of movies that you have to constantly see just to understand half of it, because sometimes, like, if you see Harry Potter 1 but you go skip to Harry Potter 4, you'll see a big gap you missed, and you see characters and stories and other things you missed and you might not understand it. So really you have to, like seeing a series, Walking Dead, The Flash, or any other long series, you have to see all of it just to get an understanding of what the twist is, what the problem is, what the issue is. It's pretty much the same deal as movies. You have to see all to know all.
Yeah, and I think in particular, I think I forgot what I was going to talk about. I was going to talk about a particular series, but I can't remember what it was.
Okay, I'll talk about it. In The Flash, when they try to reboot the series, The Flashpoint, they end up screwing up the timeline and end up making a reboot the entire series. Well, he fixed it up. There was still some things that didn't change. It was a really big twist here and there, because when Flash fixed the timeline, one of the characters ended up having powers she shouldn't have, and people are dead, and some people are still alive, and some people have issues with one another. So really, sometimes a twist is needed for a new series, for new ideas to start.
Yeah. It's just, I don't know, it's twists as an overall, the spoilers, all this stuff, even spoilers themselves build intrigue into people wanting to watch films and series and whatever, you know? But it's just, I find it interesting how overall you can still have constant twists in a whole entire series, especially the Harry Potter series. There was so many twists in that series that continue throughout all these different books. Even that's what I was going to mention, the Star Wars, The Force Awakens. It's presented, because it's so new to us, with its timeline, with its characters. The first film brings in all these different things, like who's raised parents, all this bullshit that we've talked about in Art Part 2, and it gives you the idea of, like, this is why you want to continue watching the films. Like, this is a reason to continue watching the films, to get these questions answered, even though you're going to watch them because they're fucking Star Wars films. But that's just, to an aspect, I don't like that. There are worthy twists in that film, like, you know, like
Someone dying,
character reveal as someone's father, all that kind of stuff. But even fucking Empire Strikes Back has its twists, and the original trilogy has its twists that were just put in there because I figured that'll make it interesting, more interesting, like Luke, the "I am your father" line, which no one could get right apparently. It's actually not Luke, I am your father. It's no, I am your father. You killed him. No, I am your father. No, what a fucking classic lines that no one remembers. The amount of times I've seen people talk about that shit, like fucking hell. And even Return of the Jedi, that Leia and Luke are brother and sister, you know. Yeah,
that was a big ass twist, especially the whole makeout scene before.
Yes.
Yeah, and then Han Solo's reaction.
Especially then you've got. Especially then you've got like the prequel trilogy, which already tells you all this stuff and is kind of worthless, and actually ruins twists. I hate how they do that. How a lot of these films.
Especially in comics and cartoon series. Like General Grievous, who was that in one cartoon he was a badass that kills 5 Jedis at once, and in a cartoon series became I'll get you back next time villain sort of thing.
Yeah.
Kind of weird how underrated he is in the movie.
It's just interesting how they do that, like how certain twists and certain characters are changed for certain reasons. I don't know. Still, I think, should we end this here?
Yeah, I guess should we do it?
Yeah. Let's just say spoilers are fun.
Yes, they are. Yes, they are.
To be honest, we really didn't spoil much this episode. It was good.
What you define as spoils?
John dies in the end.
No, that's a spoiler.
John. It's literally the title of the film. John dies at the end. It's a pretty good film. Yeah, so this has been Spoiler Talk. We call it Twist Talk, but who wants to watch an episode called Twist Talk?
It's an episode about Twister.
Yes. Alright, I've been joined by that guy and Magic Mike with Schmidlab in the audience. I'm your host, McWizWam Dinkle. Please like, share, subscribe to this video for more Mindless Show and more content on telecreations. There are links in the description to whatever, to some stuff and other Mindless Show stuff, including a playlist of whatever the jam. Alright. Thanks for watching.
Raspberry or
Yes.
strawberry?
Both. Not apricot. No one likes it.
Wildberry. No, wait, no, that's not the one.
Poisonberry.
Poison.
Boysenberry. It's actually boysenberry. I know. Alright, goodbye.
Ta-ta.